A hand reaches for a flush lever in a home by the Indus. The scent of burning wood and spices faint on the evening air. Unseen by them, across oceans and continents, other civilizations would struggle for millennia to match the simple elegance of their daily convenience. 4,500 years later, many modern cities still fail to provide the same level of urban sanitation their world knew. We often imagine history as a relentless march forward, a journey from crude beginnings to ever greater sophistication. Yet, beneath the dust of ages, in forgotten corners of our world, lie the remnants of cities whose engineering prowess and urban planning rivaled, and in some ways surpassed, what many regions achieved for centuries to come. These are places that challenge our understanding of progress itself, leaving behind mysteries that still baffle the most dedicated scholars. Take Mohenjo-Daro, a jewel of the Indus Valley civilization, which flourished around 2300 BC on the banks of the Indus River in modern-day Pakistan. Archaeologists estimate its population may have reached 80,000, a scale comparable to a major European Renaissance city. But thousands of years earlier, its streets were laid out in a precise grid, a network of parallels and perpendiculars, with central avenues spanning 10 meters wide. This level of planned urbanism would not be seen in Europe for another 1,500 years, emerging much later in ancient Greece. Beneath these meticulously aligned streets ran enclosed brick channels for wastewater, a system as effective as the Roman sewers, yet predating them by 2 millennia. Every dwelling in Mohenjo-Daro connected to this common drainage through ceramic pipes, and at street intersections, carefully placed manholes allowed for inspection and cleaning. This was a standard of public utility engineering that many cities on Earth would not attain even by the 19th century. The bricks themselves, fired to perfection, were uniform in size throughout the entire city, adhering to a precise 2:4 ratio. Such standardization hints at a sophisticated system of weights and measures, indicating a centralized authority and a developed administrative structure governing daily life. In the heart of Mohenjo-Daro stands perhaps its most intriguing structure, the Great Bath. Carved from burnt brick and sealed with natural bitumen for complete waterproofing, this impressive basin measured 12 meters long. It was 7 meters wide and nearly 2.5 meters deep. While historians generally consider it a ritual bathing site, its sophisticated engineering raises questions. It included a system for supplying clean water and a drainage channel for wastewater. If its purpose was solely spiritual cleansing, why construct such a complex system? It was a water network on par with a modern swimming complex. The greatest enigma of Mohenjo-Daro lies not in its technologies, but in its dramatic end. The city vanished around 300 BC, and the precise reasons remain unclear. The prevailing theory suggests a shift in the Indus River's course. This led to a severe ecological disruption. However, some researchers point to unsettling skeletons found in the streets. They were positioned as if death struck them instantly amidst their daily routines. In certain areas, bricks appear fused together, as if exposed to extreme temperatures. While some interpret these findings as evidence of an unusual event, academic science attributes such fusion to ordinary fires. Yet, a further mystery persists. Mohenjo-Daro's script, unlike Sumerian cuneiform, remains undeciphered. With over 400 symbols spread across 1,000 tablets, no key has ever been found to unlock its meaning. This civilization left us its structures, its pipes, and its standardized weights. But it took its voice with it into the past. Thousands of kilometers to the west, sands and rivers conceal the ruins of a city. This city was once called the center of the world, and it was Babylon. Under King Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon became the first city in history to approach 200,000. He reigned from 605 to 562 BC. He transformed it into a wonder. The city was protected by a double wall of fired brick. It reached an astonishing thickness of 30 meters. The Greek historian Herodotus claimed 2 chariots could pass each other atop these walls. This description was long considered an exaggeration until early 20th century archaeological findings. These confirmed the immense scale of the fortifications. When Robert Koldewey's expedition unearthed the foundations of the main palace, they discovered a network of fired clay pipes, laid with astonishing precision. These pipes were sealed with a natural bitumen compound. This allowed water to flow under pressure without seepage. Alongside these channels, archaeologists found the remains of mechanisms. These featured toothed gears crafted from hardwood and bronze. Conventional historical accounts place the emergence of such complex gearing in ancient Greece. The Babylonian discoveries push this timeline back by centuries. Even more striking was the automated irrigation system found beneath the city. Mechanisms featuring cork floats and stone counterweights regulated water delivery to agricultural fields without human intervention. The idea of agricultural automation in the 6th century BC sounds almost like science fiction. Yet, the ceramic components of these devices are preserved in museums. A more debated discovery connected to this region is the so-called Baghdad Battery. In 1936, near Baghdad, a clay jar was unearthed. It contained a copper cylinder and an iron rod. Archaeologist Wilhelm K. Nigg proposed it might have been used for electrochemical gilding of ornaments. Academic science continues to debate this hypothesis. If true, Babylonians understood electricity millennia before Alessandro Volta. The Old Testament mentions Babylon countless times. The image of the Tower of Babel became a symbol of human ambition. The real Etemenanke ziggurat was a concrete structure. It likely inspired the biblical legend. Rising approximately 90 meters high, Alexander the Great captured Babylon in 331 BC. He was so impressed he planned to make it his capital. He died there at 32, his grand plans for the city unfulfilled. Babylon's decline was not due to conquest, but to competition. New capitals rose nearby, drawing away its inhabitants. The once great city slowly faded into dust. From Mesopotamia, we journey to Mexico. A city stands in a valley, its true name lost to time. Teotihuacan means the place where gods are born. It was named by the Aztec centuries after its fall. By 480, its population neared 100,000. This made it comparable to Rome at its height. It was one of the largest cities in the world. The city's central axis was called the Avenue of the Dead by the Spanish. It stretched for 5 kilometers, 40 meters wide. It was flanked by the pyramids of the Sun and Moon, and dozens of smaller temples. The Pyramid of the Sun alone weighs about 3 million tons. Its corners are precisely aligned with the cardinal directions. The southwestern corner of the Sun Pyramid aligned with the sunset on the solstices. The northeastern corner of the Moon Pyramid also aligned perfectly. To achieve such astronomical precision, its builders must have possessed profound knowledge. We typically do not associate such advanced science with civilizations that did not use the wheel. Yet, Teotihuacan's deepest secret lies within its walls. In the layers of one temple, now known as the Mica Temple, thick sheets of Muscovite mica were discovered. These were carefully laid between courses of stone masonry. Mica is a powerful thermal and electrical insulator, used today in electronics, nuclear industries, and space technology. No natural source of mica exists in central Mexico. Early estimates suggested it was transported from Brazil, over 5,000 kilometers away. More recent research proposes Oaxaca as a source, still hundreds of kilometers through mountains and jungles. This was without the aid of draft animals. Why would ancient builders, lacking such animals, transport a material across a continent? It seemingly had no decorative or structural purpose. The mica was carefully cut and hidden beneath the outer layers of the Pyramid of the Sun. This indicates a deliberate, functional placement, rather than mere adornment. Some theories suggest it might have offered protection against electromagnetic radiation, or served as part of an unknown energy system. To date, academic science has offered no definitive explanation. The Mica Temple itself has been closed to visitors, its very sign disappearing in recent years. The city was abandoned around 750 AD, its decline also a matter of ongoing debate. Spanish researchers recently proposed that a series of powerful earthquakes may have played a role. This is given the city's location in a seismically active zone. When Europeans rediscovered Teotihuacan, it was completely buried, as if intentionally interred. Now, we turn to the shores of the Mediterranean. This city was conceived as a capital for the world, a title it held for centuries. Alexandria was founded by Alexander the Great in 332 BC. Within a century, it grew into the largest city in the Mediterranean, boasting a population of approximately 500,000. Designed by the architect Dinocrates of Rhodes, it followed a unified plan. Alexandria had a rectangular street grid and a main thoroughfare 30 meters wide. It was the first metropolis in history to be built not organically. Instead, it emerged from a pre-conceived master plan. This was much like Brasilia or Canberra in the 20th century. The Library of Alexandria, its intellectual heart, held an estimated 40,000 to 700,000 scrolls. Its loss is considered one of the great intellectual setbacks in human history. Here, great minds like Euclid, Eratosthenes, and Archimedes advanced human understanding. Here, the first star charts were compiled. The Earth's circumference was calculated with an error of less than 2%. But the true technological emblem of Alexandria was its lighthouse. The Lighthouse of Pharos, built during the reign of Ptolemy II around 280 BC, soared to 120 meters. It stood for 1,500 years. Its light, magnified by bronze mirrors, was visible up to 50 kilometers out to sea. How Alexandrian engineers achieved such a far-reaching beam remains a subject of discussion. They used oil lamps and polished bronze. Modern attempts to replicate the mirror system yield far more modest results. Beneath the Mediterranean waters near Alexandria lies its submerged royal quarter. In 1996, underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudio discovered granite columns and statues on the Sieved. These were fragments of Ptolemaic palaces. They are believed to be the site of Cleopatra's final moments. Hero of Alexandria, in the 1st century AD, described dozens of mechanical devices. These included the Eolipile, which was the first steam turbine. Had this innovative device been developed for industrial application, an industrial revolution could have occurred. This would have been 18 centuries earlier. Yet, the ready availability of human labor meant there was little incentive for engineers to automate production. From Egypt, we move to the heart of another empire. This city, 2 millennia later, remains a foundational reference point for Western civilization, Rome. By the early 7th century AD, Rome housed an estimated 500,000 to 1 million inhabitants. This was during Emperor Trajan's reign. No other city in the world would reach such a scale until London finally surpassed it in the 19th century. Roman aqueducts delivered approximately 1 million cubic meters of water daily. They used 11 channels spanning over 400 kilometers. The Romans relied solely on gravity and precise calculations of incline. Sometimes the drop in elevation was as little as 30 centimeters per kilometer of aqueduct. The concrete they used for construction proved more enduring than modern varieties. Researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology discovered that Roman concrete gains strength over time. This is thanks to a reaction between seawater and volcanic ash. It fortifies the material with each passing century. The Dome of the Pantheon measures 43 meters in diameter. It was built around 125 AD under Hadrian. It remains the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world, a record unbroken for nearly 2 millennia. The Cloaca Maxima, Rome's primary sewer, was constructed by the Etruscans in the 6th century BC. It still functions today, channeling stormwater through the same stone arches laid 500 years ago. This engineering feat operates without major repair for 2.5 millennia. Rome also developed the concept of urban infrastructure we rely on today. This included paved roads, a postal service, fire brigades, police, and public toilets. Its multi-story apartment buildings, called insulae, reached up to 7 floors. Rent in central Rome, relative to average wages, was more costly than in modern Manhattan. The most profound aspect of Rome's legacy is perhaps this. After the empire's decline, it took Europe a full 1,000 years. They had to regain the level of urban living enjoyed under Trajan. An entire continent, for a millennium, lost the ability to do. They lost what its ancestors had mastered. This compels us to consider the fragility of progress we often assume to be irreversible. Our final journey takes us to the jungles of Cambodia. It is to a city whose sheer scale astounds, even after all we have considered. Angkor. The capital of the Khmer Empire was at its zenith in the 12th and 13th centuries AD. It covered an area exceeding 3,000 square kilometers. This was larger than modern Moscow within its ring road. Researchers estimate Angkor's population ranged from 700,000 to 900,000. This made it the largest pre-industrial city on the planet. Neither Rome, nor Constantinople, nor Baghdad could compare. In 2007, an international team using satellite imagery and laser scanning confirmed this remarkable status. The heart of Angkor, the temple complex of Angkor Wat, is surrounded by a moat 190 meters wide. This required the excavation and movement of 1.5 million cubic meters of earth. The construction of the temple itself used as much stone as the Pyramid of Khafre in Egypt. The walls of its 3 tiers are covered with bas-reliefs spanning nearly 2,000 square meters. They depict over 2,000 celestial dancers, each with unique facial features and poses. The stone masonry was executed without mortar. Blocks were polished and fitted so precisely that the seams are virtually invisible. This same dry masonry technique was employed by the Incas at Machu Picchu. This was true, though on a different continent and in a different era. Angkor's primary engineering achievement was not its temple's architecture. It was, however, its masterful water management system. The Khmers built immense artificial reservoirs, known as barays, the largest measuring 8 by 2 kilometers. A sophisticated network of canals and dams regulated water levels throughout the entire city. This enabling 3 rice harvests per year instead of just 1. This intricate system sustained nearly 1 million people in tropical conditions. Intense rainy seasons alternated with periods of prolonged drought. When Henry Mohat rediscovered Angkor in 1861, he struggled to believe the Khmers had built such a city. He suggested it must have been the work of Romans or Alexander the Great. His misjudgment tells us more about the biases of his time. It tells us less about the extraordinary abilities of Angkor's builders. Angkor did not fall to invading armies. Wars with neighboring Siam did weaken the empire. Instead, researchers from the University of Sydney demonstrated a prolonged drought in the 14th century. This was followed by devastating flooding. This sequence of events severely damaged the complex canal and reservoir system. This system had sustained the city. Without water, the rice fields failed, and with them, Angkor itself began to wane. The inhabitants likely lost faith in the divine power of their rulers. In their cosmology, these rulers were expected to prevent such calamities. The people departed. The jungle gradually reclaimed the stone. For 400 years, the largest city in the pre-industrial world existed only in oral traditions. Recent laser scanning projects have revealed hundreds of additional structures. These were hidden beneath layers of earth and jungle roots. Their existence was unknown just a decade ago. 6 cities across continents, separated by thousands of kilometers and millennia. Each possessed knowledge we have either rediscovered or still fail to fully comprehend. Mohenjo-Daro planned its urban environment with standards that would only reappear in Europe 2,000 years later. Babylon automated agriculture 25 centuries before the first factories. Teotihuacan used materials whose purpose we still cannot explain. Alexandria conceived a steam turbine, but found no compelling use for it. Rome forged a concrete that strengthens with the passage of centuries. Angkor built a city the size of a modern capital, and eventually lost it to environmental shifts. Each example disrupts the notion of linear progress, revealing that history moves in complex cycles. Entire eras of accumulated knowledge can disappear within a single generation. We are not the first to build great cities. And if, one day, our descendants unearth our own ruins, they might well pose the same question. That question echoes through these ancient places. How could they have known so much, yet allowed so much to be forgotten?